I didn't notice the missing time right away. That's the part that still bothers me the most. If something dramatic had happened, a crash, a loud noise, someone screaming, I think my brain would have held on to it. But what I lost wasn't a moment of panic. It was just, gone. At the time, my nights followed a strict routine. I worked the late shift, clocked out just after midnight, and drove straight home. Same route. Same road. Same 15-minute drive I could probably do with my eyes closed. That road was quiet, but familiar. A long stretch cutting through trees and open land, barely lit, barely used at night. I'd driven it so many times that I stopped thinking about it altogether. That night, everything started normally. I remember checking the time as I got into my car. 12:32 a.m. I remember because I was already thinking about how tired I'd be in the morning. The parking lot was empty, like usual. The engine started on the first try. The radio came on automatically, some low conversation I didn't care about. I turned it off before I even left the lot. I don't know why. It just felt unnecessary. The drive out of town was uneventful. No traffic. No headlights behind me. No cars coming the other way. The road opened up, stretching forward into darkness, and I settled into that familiar, mindless state where driving feels automatic. That's probably why I didn't notice when things started to feel wrong. There was a point on that road, I still know exactly where the trees grew closer together. The streetlights stopped entirely, and the only illumination came from your headlights. As I passed that point, I remember thinking how dark it looked that night. Darker than usual. The trees felt closer. The road narrower. I checked my speed without really meaning to. Normal. I checked the clock on the dashboard. 12:38 a.m. That made sense. I kept driving. A few minutes later, I saw headlights in my rearview mirror. That was unusual. That road was rarely used that late, and it caught my attention immediately. The lights were far back, but steady. I slowed slightly, just enough to see if they'd close the distance. They didn't. They stayed exactly where they were. Not gaining. Not falling behind. Just there. I told myself it was nothing. Another late driver, matching my speed. Still, I checked the mirror more often than usual. After a while, I noticed something else. The road felt longer. That sounds ridiculous, but it's the only way I can describe it. The familiar landmarks, the bend, the slight incline, the patch where the asphalt changes color, they weren't appearing when they should have. I checked the time again. 12:41 a.m. That didn't make sense. I should have been almost home. I slowed down, scanning the road ahead, looking for something recognizable. The headlights behind me were still there. Same distance. Same intensity. That's when I noticed there was no sound. Not silence exactly. The engine was still running. The tires still hummed against the road. But everything else felt muted. Like the world outside the car had been wrapped in something thick. No wind. No insects. No distant noise. I remember gripping the steering wheel tighter. I told myself to relax. To stop overthinking. Then the headlights behind me turned off. Not faded. Not drifted away. They were just gone. The rearview mirror reflected nothing but darkness. I checked my side mirrors. Nothing. For some reason, that scared me more than if they'd stayed. I checked the clock again. 12:41 a.m. It hadn't changed. I stared at it longer than I should have, waiting for the numbers to flip. They didn't. That's when I realized how tired I felt. Not sleepy, heavy. Like the effort it took to keep my eyes open had doubled all at once. I rolled the window down a crack, letting cold air hit my face. It helped. A little. I focused on the road, telling myself I just needed to make it to the next bend. Once I saw that, I'd know everything was fine. The bend never came. The road stayed straight. Unchanging. Trees on both sides. Darkness ahead. I don't remember feeling panic. Not yet. I remember feeling confused. Then there was a sound. A soft one. At first, I thought it was the engine misfiring. Then I realized it wasn't coming from the front of the car. It was behind me. A single, quiet knock. Not loud. Not aggressive. Just enough to be unmistakable. I checked the rearview mirror. Nothing. I told myself it could have been something small, a branch, debris kicked up by the tires. Then it happened again. 2 knocks this time. Evenly spaced. Like someone testing the surface. I didn't turn around. I don't know why. My body just refused. I pressed the accelerator slightly, heart beating faster now. The knocking stopped. I exhaled, barely realizing I'd been holding my breath. I checked the clock. 12:41 a.m. That's when fear finally set in. I slammed my foot harder on the gas. The car responded immediately, engine growing louder as the speed climbed. The road didn't change. The scenery didn't blur the way it should have. The sense of movement felt wrong, like I was pushing forward without actually going anywhere. Then, abruptly, everything cut out. Not the engine. The lights. For a split second, my headlights shut off completely. Total darkness. I gasped, instinctively lifting my foot from the pedal. The lights came back on. The road was empty. Familiar. Recognizable. I was approaching the bend near my neighborhood. My heart pounded as I checked the clock. 1:01 a.m. I stared at it, unable to process what I was seeing. 20 minutes. Gone. No memory. No blur. No explanation. I slowed down, pulling onto the shoulder just past the bend. My hands were shaking as I put the car in park. I sat there, listening to my own breathing, scanning the mirrors. Everything looked normal. Too normal. I drove the rest of the way home in silence. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I checked my phone. There were no missed calls. No messages. Nothing unusual. My navigation history showed a normal drive. No detours. No stops. According to everything I could see, nothing had happened. I avoided that road for months after that. When I finally drove it again, during the day, it looked exactly the same as it always had. Same trees. Same bends. Same distance. But every now and then, late at night, when I checked the time while driving, I notice how long it's been since the last minute changed. If you're listening to this after midnight, you're not alone.